Cry, won't you cry? The 15th of July. The Free Mutant protest downtown. I know of no reason why Free Mutant treason should ever be forgotten. Guys, we're talking Boxed In, Season 1, Episode 5. That was just a call out because it's November 5th. Kind of a
5th
joke.
Of November.
V for Vendetta.
Yes.
You get the point. Let's go.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
What a lovely day for the Gifted After Show here at AFTERBUZZ TV, where we are discussing Season 1, Episode 5, Boxed In.
Oh, yeah.
If you're listening to this right now, you hear the Fury Road theme song kicking us off with some energy today. If you know why, say it in the chat, but I'm going to tell you why right now. It is because Andy officially became a blood bag in this episode, which is pretty hilarious, which maybe is foreshadowing of him becoming a badass in the future. Because if you've seen Fury Road, Tom Hardy was a blood bag and became a badass. Well, I guess he was a badass before the blood bag.
Yeah,
that's
but
true.
that's beside the point. We are talking another great episode of Gifted. 5 for 5. Just like the 5 stars you rate us on iTunes, this was another episode. We're 5 for 5 for good episodes this season, so we're excited to talk about it. I'm your host. You can find Stephen Lemieux. You can find me on Twitter at STPHENLEMIEU capital X.
Capital.
Everything else is lowercase, just a capital X.
That's right.
Joining me today is, of course, our full panel. Rick has returned this week, but we'll start off with Stephanie Sabraw.
What's up, everyone? I'm Steph Sabraw, and you can find me on Twitter and IG at Steph Sabraw. Rick?
Hello, guys. No, I was here. I was here. I was just invisible. That's my mutant power.
Yeah.
So
he was on the couch.
Yeah.
He was
You can
chilling.
find me on all social media at Rick Hong, RICKHUNG. No X.
No X.
Well, you can find me online at OneYoungster, which is ONEYOUNGSTA.
Every time it just gets
No X.
Sorry, no X.
Oh, no X.
Yeah, so we're talking episode 5. This was right in the feels. It's a pretty, like, when you think of, like, the ramifications of everything that happened in this episode, you're just like, damn. You're just like, oh, that really sucks. We're going to break it down. We're going to go July 15th, talk about the situation there.
Yeah.
Marcos and Polaris, the showdown, the interrogation. Then we're going to go into Jason, his wife and daughter. Then we're going to go to Rita's bait, Kate and Harry, the whole bullet wound thing. And then Clarice and Dreamer. And then we'll go over some quick notes, predictions. We'll wrap it out of here. Again, please hit that thumbs up on the YouTube video right now. Keeps us searchable. And then comment in live chat, but wait until after the video is over, the live stream's over. And if you're watching this and it's not live, then go ahead and comment whenever you want. But, you know, as a live stream, we can't really reply to all your comments unless it's after the video's over. But, okay. So July 15th, we open up on a flashback to 4 years ago. Or was it 3? 4.
A flashback that makes sense in the context of the episode.
We're getting like little flashbacks in this show, but they're not doing too much exposition in the flashbacks. It's just like, hey, here's a little bit of a scene from this event that happened a while back, and let's move on. Because even like the Marcos and Polaris flashbacks we get, it like shows a little clip of their life that pertains to their current storyline, and then moves on. It's not like, hey, let's talk about all this stuff. Let's do a whole storyline in the past.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this will be great. Let's just do 3 episodes in the past.
Especially if it has nothing to do with anything and doesn't pay off at all.
We're not spending days in the future past.
Ooh.
I hate myself for that one. Pun
No,
job.
that's good. That's good. In the chat, you guys know it's good. You know it's good.
So we see that Jace took the day off from doing crowd control. He was back then. He was a police officer, it seems like, and then he was with his wife and daughter. His daughter's 7 years old. They're playing on the most fun thing ever invented at a playground, which is the Whirly Whirl or whatever the hell you want to call it. And the girl just has to have her toy. You know, you gotta have that toy to prevent you from running away and make you die. But we hear that the chants in the background are getting louder and louder and louder. Unfortunately, the protest is bigger than they expected, and then we start seeing. To me, I saw this kind of as the opposite of Lauren's power. What did you guys think of this whole, like, when you start seeing this, like, these explosions going off?
Hey, is it when was Judgment Day? Do we know what date Judgment Day was?
I can't remember.
This is the event.
Yeah, I mean Judgment Day from Terminator because I was thinking of like there are elements where I was like, okay, it's like maybe little kids shouldn't play in a playground in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to figure out, yeah, in the 2000s, kids shouldn't play in a playground.
The new millennium
because
no playgrounds.
Yeah, we're gonna have like Judgment Day, or we're gonna have like bad things happen. So like that's kind of that's what I was kind of thinking. I was like sitting there watching it, and it was like, oh, I was like, we got Judgment Day. I mean,
yeah, it's a bad
little
idea.
bit.
Supposed to be August 4th, 1997.
Okay.
So we're 20 years past Judgment Day.
All right.
And there were actually before the bigger, I guess, Pulse or whatever, and I know it's not Pulse, we're not talking about that guy, but there were a couple of flare-ups that you could see over the trees. So, you know, they knew it was coming. Unfortunately, that little toy, man, that toy always gets you.
Yeah.
That toy always gets you.
I like the scene, I agree, but there was some parts where I was like, if I heard those blasts and my daughter was just chilling,
just grab the kid.
Yeah, I would run and snatch her instead of just watching, but it had to happen. But it was still a good scene because what you were saying, they keep the flashback short in the dialogue to a limit, but you still know you got a lot of background story really quickly about the relationship, the setting, the day, the time.
I mean, and that's also like directing and editing too. I mean, in those moments, you know, I mean, you can hear things, but no matter how fast you try to react, it's, I mean, like for dramatic effect and stuff. But I agree with you too. It's like, leave the toy, let's get out of here.
It's like, run, what are you doing?
Do you guys think, early prediction, do you guys think we'll see the mutant that caused that?
Yeah, but not this season. I think we'll see more of that protest probably next season because I don't think they want to just like give everything away yet.
I think it's a season. I think it's a season finale. I think in the season finale, I think before the finale, we're introduced to the mutant, like the dark side of the mutants or whatever. And I think Andy probably gets introduced to them or whatever. And I think probably like one of the last scenes of the episode is somebody finding out or like the main guy mentioning that it was like all a planned occurrence. The July event was a planned occurrence.
Ooh, man.
Oh.
Like they set it off that way on purpose.
Dude.
Okay.
You're pushing me really forward because like I want to piggyback off of that, but I don't know if I should piggyback off that later.
Yeah, I mean we're talking about it right now. It's just
going in. Yeah.
Well, remember how the grandmother, she says that, you know, that the grandfather's just kind of gone. So is it out of our realm that the grandfather could have the power that the grandson has, and maybe he could have, and we'll see that come back the finale to see both of them together.
Look where you're going with that. See, because the power that was used to blow up the playground kind of looks like the combination of the two kids' powers. So if it was the grandfather and he's like a big leader in the anti-human movement.
Because she mentions something, she's like, oh, he's just gone in a cabin or whatever. But
yeah,
then
they don't really, they kind of skip past it, letting us know we're going to find out later.
I still think the July 15th, or is it 15th? Yeah, I think the July 15th incident is definitely like a on purpose incident. I don't think it was I don't think it was a mutant losing
somebody
control.
coordinated that.
Yeah, it was like they knew that this protest was going on. They knew it could be a trigger,
and they needed that to push some legislation or whatever they wanted to do. It could have been.
And this is just total predict. I know we're like getting off on a tangent here. If I was to wager a guess, they already have abilities to control mutants, right? Like Pulse. If that was kind of the same thing as like X2 with Nightcrawler having the thing on his neck, like being able to control mutants that way, being able to control a mutant to cause, like July 15th was an inside job kind of thing where somebody wanted to push legislation to be able to control mutants. If we are going to get introduced to Deckard, right? That was his name?
Stryker.
Stryker. Yeah. Like, what if there is a Stryker-like character who orchestrated that event to be able to say, hey, these mutants are dangerous, give them to me, like, let's...
Yeah, let me control this whole, I guess, push against the mutants. Let me, you know, provide the tech, or let me provide the studies or whatever, and let me chop them up and dice them and do all the experiments I want. The experiments.
That would make sense.
Capital X.
Also with Jace's role, because I feel like Jace is kind of so naive about it because he had such a shocking event happen to him that he might really not think that anything that Sentinel Services does, or the people who are able to make people like Pulse work for them, I don't know if to the extent of how much he trusts that or knows that there are bad things that happen. It's not just being used for the greater good.
Well, that's an interesting point, and we can get into that too a little bit right now, is that now that Jace has not firsthand witnessed his daughter's death, how will that affect him in terms of hating mutants? Because before he's witnessing a power go off and his daughter being incinerated. Like, that is a mental image he's never getting rid of. That is, I hate mutants. Yeah. But now that he hasn't seen that, and it's just, my daughter was killed by mutants, there's a level where if he does discover a conspiracy of that the government controlled the mutant that killed his daughter, it's less like, in his mind, mutants killed my daughter. It's, my daughter was killed in a blast caused by the government. So I think it opens the door for a potential of his switch later on. If you
see, I was thinking of it like, when I saw that, I thought of it as, okay, you made me experience this loss twice. Now I super hate you guys. But I see where you're going.
I think it is I super hate you guys, but again, we have a character that,
like, the direction of
in 5 episodes he's already gone so far. Like, you don't know in 7 more episodes, because we have 13 this season, so 8 more. And then season to season, like, his character can grow a lot now that he has not witnessed firsthand somebody being his daughter being murdered by a mutant power.
Good point.
But it is terrifying that he has to now experience the death of his daughter twice.
Yeah.
Because that's really bad.
Now, really quick from the chat, someone said, ZSB Lou, I wonder if the mutant who lost control of the 715 protest could be Jubilee or related mutant. Real quick, Jubilee ain't that strong. I'm sorry. Now, Jubilee, we all got love for Jubilee. She's cool. She hangs out with Wolverine.
She's Asian.
She's Asian. She became a vampire for a little bit, and I don't know if she still is or whatever, but
vampire? Oh,
she's not that strong. She's just not that strong.
But in this world, we're not sure.
Well, yeah, in this world, we're not sure.
Rude.
Rude. She can be as strong as she wants to be.
You're damn right.
That's right.
So let's go into Marcos and Polaris. I really like seeing these two actors interact in the show. They're just so natural on camera, and the chemistry is just like that. Like, it's so good. I don't know if either of them are single, but, you know, like, they could probably get together, and I would believe it.
It would make sense.
Which happens.
Yeah, but so basically we get them working together because now they mentioned the GPS tracker.
Yes.
They're all getting away. Like, one of our things, like, that car would definitely have a GPS tracker in it if it's a Sentinel service car.
Yeah.
And luckily for us, the writers on the show are smart, so they said, hey, this car would have a GPS tracker. Let's use that in the show. They have to ditch the car. They get new cars, but then they see a drone, a Thunderbird. Wait,
Thunderbird.
Thunderbird. I was right. Okay, somebody commented and said, why do you keep forgetting his name? Thunderbird sees that the drone's coming, so they know that they have to do something. So some of them leave in the unmarked car with Reed and the kids and all them, and then Marcos and Polaris stay together because together forever.
Yeah,
that's right.
Squad
and
life.
they've been apart so long. They're finally back. So
and they need to discuss kind of the issue of, oh, hey, by the way, you got my kid.
Preggers.
Yeah.
I thought that was really
they needed
cool.
to have that talk in person.
What'd you guys think of, like, the different reactions they had and how she reacted to the news and how he reacted to the news?
I'm glad that he wasn't, I'm glad that he's ready to be like, you know what? I know we're in a crazy world, but we can still raise this kid. Because it could easily have been a situation where he's like, it's too dangerous for this kid. It's doom and gloom and all apocalyptic stuff. But he seems pretty, excited for, as excited as you can be when you're on the run. But, pretty excited to have this kid. So I was like, oh, okay, go ahead. I see you, Flashlight. See you.
I thought it was a good depiction of their two characters. I think that's exactly how I would have thought they would react separately. Like, Marcos being kind of, I feel like he is a positive role. With everything he does, he has hope and he's positive, and Polaris is kind of more realistic because she's seen, I feel like, really bad stuff her entire life.
I mean, for him though, I think you have to embrace it, because if you're in a world where everybody is out to get you because you are different, then to be able to reproduce and bring someone different mutant, whatever it is, into the world, then you've got to embrace that. I mean, like, and it's not like, I mean, we're not going to get too political here, but it's not like you can just go to some hospital and say, hey, well, we don't want this baby, or like whatever. You can't do that either. And that I'm sure in that world.
Well, they have mentioned that in the prior episodes where they don't have health care and they can't just go and do normal things.
Yeah. But
they probably like either call the cops on them or something crazy.
Totally.
So we have them going in the car. This episode really highlighted the fact that she does have bipolar disorder. I mean, they haven't really touched on it saying like for sure, but the character as written.
I've heard her talk about it off screen.
Yeah, because like this episode, she goes from so many different emotions in terms of like everything's happy, then she gets really like intense, and then really emotional and really intense. And we see one of these intense moments when they stop the car and decide to take Jace hostage.
That, I think, brought the best line of the episode for me when Eclipse was like, babe, we gotta go. And she was just like so into it. She couldn't be stopped.
She was like, nope.
But we're bringing him.
And that's another thing. This show delivers. Like you were saying, this show delivers. We knew she's been in jail all this time. She's quite upset. And when this first moment she had a chance to get back, she took it.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't. She was like, nope. I'm out. I have my powers now. When she threw that dude in the van, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I rewound that like twice.
I was like, time out. You're like, time out.
like that was just straight funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good to, we know that she's been locked up. And we know that she's ready to fight back. And they didn't, like, hold that back from us. They gave it, and I was just like, hey, this is
we know that she also
good TV.
doesn't like Jace.
Well, yeah.
So
Yeah, she's not
presenting
she's
him
not
to
too
the
happy with it.
doorstep. And Jace was, like, pissed because they didn't send reinforcements. So then we know that he's not, like, on the up and up in terms of, like, being able to control everything. Because somebody overruled him to send people to different places.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, if there are more people there, you never know how that would have went down.
True.
But I also thought it was interesting that she just has these eyes that just make you think like she's gonna do something really evil. Like when she's like, "We're taking him with him," like it's like so tiny. You're like,
And
oh,
she sold
God.
it. Like she really sold it. I was just like, yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
I was
mischievous.
I'm glad she's in charge. Even though maybe someone like that shouldn't be in charge all the time. But I'm glad she's in charge.
But side note to what you were talking about last week about combining powers, I loved how they were able to use both of their powers to shut down the original
Oh, that was
drone.
sick.
Yeah, that was a nice little tag
That
team
was
moment. I was like,
cool.
oh yeah, that's cool.
That was smart though. It's like use the rearview mirror, reflect the sunlight off of it, destroy the drone.
Yeah,
That's
that
what
was,
we were talking about, that the
was
show
really dope.
finds a way to make really cool results with realistic way. Like, if you had those powers realistically and you were smart, that's what you would do.
It's like Storm's in the backseat and she's like, I could have made a tornado destroyer.
tornado. They don't even have tornadoes here. Still could have done it.
And like Xavier's in the backseat. I could have mind controlled the jet pilot to fire a missile at her. Guys, we can just be simple here, okay?
It's like we could have just been simple. You don't have to.
No,
do
I mean
all
it's cool to see some originality where, at least in this series, to see it's not just like, okay, I've got this one power, this is what I'm gonna do. Oh, you've got this one power, that's what you're gonna do. It's great to see them combining their powers
God,
and
if
seeing
only
the
we had the
results.
mutant who could have the power of taking down drones right now.
the power of taking down.
The
drones.
door's locked. Shoot! If only we had the mutant who can pick locks.
Oh, that's sad.
So let's move down to they get Jace down into this warehouse area, but of course Jace has a tracker on him, which
Makes
why
sense.
wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And Sentinel Services shows up, so they're like, okay, well we got to figure out how to get this information out of him as to how they converted Pulse into being on the bad team and working for Sentinel Service.
Yeah.
Jace isn't going through it, but they're like, you know what? Let's bring in Clarice. So they call Dreamer. Let's bring in Dreamer, and they call Dreamer, and Clarice is right next to them, and Dreamer mentions a little bit about what her powers are to Clarice, and this just sets
Well,
things
and
off.
also with Shatter, right?
Was Shatter there?
Yeah,
No,
but Shatter-
before. That's how she
He
kind
was
of
talking about-
started
yeah.
catching on to
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Right. Like the suspicion and just
Yeah.
kind of seeing resemblances. Like, wait, why do I know? Like deja
Yeah,
vu, right?
yeah.
Why do I know this?
Yeah.
So we're gonna skip over them and get to them in just a minute. But so they do the showdown. Basically, it's just kind of like Jace tied up while Dreamer uses her magic on him, and we get just glimpses of. I saw Hound, which I guess is Pulse's agent name or something, possibly.
I guess.
Yeah, we don't know really.
Because or is it the Hound Project? We don't really know. We just get like a few
Yeah.
glimpses
we
of
see
people.
the symbol that's on
The tattoo,
Pulse's
yeah.
tattoo.
Yeah.
Tattoo,
We
yeah.
see the courthouse and paperwork in a judge's office.
Yeah,
or
so I
chambers.
guess maybe it was recalling when the legislation first came down or something.
Or
Yeah.
maybe it's files.
Yeah.
It's tough to say. 'Cause
Well,
somebody-
it's just Jace's mind, so it's not somebody who like is probably aware of all the details. It's probably
True,
I'm aware that this is a branch of Sentinel
Yeah.
Services. So maybe it's just like bits and pieces from that specific thing. But then they shoot in tear gas, and Dreamer has to leave with her cloud still around Jace, which is just screwing up his memories a little
Yeah.
bit.
She was really distressed about it. She was
Yeah,
like, I
'cause she
can't
said-
leave
yeah.
him like this.
Good
and
point.
then she had to leave him. So it means that, yeah, she definitely knows it's not going to end well. And we do know that already because Thunderbird made that
Yeah, he
clear.
made that comment about, like the last time you did this. And
Yeah, it didn't
messed some
end
people up or
well.
something like
Yeah.
that. So we don't know what else she did to his mind or what else he remembers or doesn't remember. And speaking of remembering on a society level, if the X-Men had been around, like, because we don't really know how long it's been since the X-Men were around, shouldn't there be a couple of people that are still like mutants are good-ish? I mean, the X-Men did good things. They weren't, the March of Dimes, but they did
Yeah.
good things. They saved.
But you
I don't
gotta
know if they
realize-
saved the world, but they saved things.
There are people who think the mutants are fine, right? But they also think that Sentinel Services is just giving them fair trials and things like that. It's the people
True,
who still believe in the
yeah.
system.
Like Reed.
Yeah, because they don't know about like the black sites
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
They're thinking, oh, these guys are being treated fairly, and it's just regular law, and it's okay. And
Did you guys like their use of saving money on the budget? In terms of like Clarice and Dreamer pop in from a different room, so you just see a blue glow, and then when they leave, they're like blue glow.
I saw that, but I let it go.
Yeah,
I saw
I
it.
did
I was like,
too.
look, I know what you guys are doing. I understand.
They had to save the money for the very gruesome dissection, pull the bullet out scene.
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and talk about Clarice and Dreamer. So we get the little bits of breadcrumbs going on with Shatter, as you said, and then with basically Clarice talking to Dreamer. Dreamer is just so annoying to me because she just seems very whiny this entire show. She always seems like on the verge of tears. And it's like, I just want to see her become a badass and like own up to her powers, because right now everyone's like putting her powers down, giving her crap for having those powers, like telling her she's a
Yeah.
bad person and everything. So it's like, I get it, she's probably like depressed and everything, but I kind of want her to start becoming a badass and be confident.
I don't know. I like how her character's evolving. Though, like there were hints about she can place, because we were trying to break that down about what exactly are her powers, and so we knew in the beginning that she could kind of go into your mind and place things there. But now to know that here is it can scramble your mind and screw you up. I really like that part of it, where he's just like he's pretty much hallucinating, and I'm like, how can she has a power to fix that? Can she not fix that?
And check memories. I don't know if I really understood that she could literally be seeing your memories.
Yeah, like
I thought she could just implant it.
She's
That's a whole
connected.
different thing.
So
Yeah.
you may not like her personality, but I like her powers.
Yeah, I mean, her powers are cool. It gives a lot of ability for having an episode or having at least a story arc where her mind swaps with somebody else.
True.
Or at least maybe she's supposed to delete somebody else's mind and then she goes evil because somebody's mind invades hers and then they're undercover as her. I could see that happening maybe like next season or like a season or two down the line.
Maybe like the Shadow King or something like.
It
or
seems a
that
little-
might be too inside baseball for X-Men.
It
fans,
seems a
but-
little too Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but
okay.
they could go that way. It opens the door for it anyway. So I did like that we finally got Clarice confronting her, though.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't hold that forever either.
Yeah.
They held it. What about 2-3 episodes?
I mean, they're pacing the stories along very well.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that I know I wasn't here last week. I'm not going to harp on it really that much, but I maybe would have wished for a little bit more from them at the prison, where we could see a little bit more about Porcelain and the woman in charge. But that was last episode. That's about
That
it.
was
But
3 episodes ago.
But well, in terms of actually seeing those two characters, right? But I was thinking like they could have like dragged it out like
Yeah.
one more episode inside the prison. But with that, I will say that they're moving, knowing that there's 13 episodes, they're moving the story along pretty well.
Well, there's something smart that Joe Henderson told me about. Joe Henderson's the you know him, Rick. He's the showrunner of Lucifer, right? You're
Yes,
friends with Joe?
uh-huh.
I was like,
And my
did
friend
I-
Jim Campolongo, good job, Jim, wrote this episode.
Oh, awesome.
Hey.
So like, there's something that Joe told me about when I was hosting the Lucifer After Show, which is when you have so many episodes, you can't just hold yourself to one storyline. Because if you hold yourself to one storyline,
Yeah.
you're gonna start thinking of like ways to stretch things out to get to it at that point,
Yes.
or you're gonna start like just putting in filler episodes.
And we've seen that.
Yes, we have.
seen that.
Oh, yeah,
So,
the
like-
three of us have.
So
Oh yes.
what it looks like with this show is it looks like we're towards the end of the first part of this season. In terms of we still haven't gotten a big baddie. We still haven't gotten like what is the point of this show in terms of like what is the main overarching huge
Because
thing.
right now they're just scrambling to survive.
Yeah,
It's
this
kinda
is
like,
still
It's kind
survival.
of like a paycheck to paycheck situation where it's just like, okay, we got that done. Whew, okay, we got that done. All right, we're still alive. Okay, we got, they haven't really revealed like who the bad mutants are or who the bad government people are. Like who are the tattoo people or, they haven't really let that out yet.
So I feel like our breadcrumbs are leading to some kind of big bite pretty soon. I'd say episode 7, and then we're gonna have a 6-episode arc that really drives towards what this season is.
Yeah.
So I'm excited because I've been entertained for 5 episodes without actually really having a goal in mind or like what an overarching story is. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
to
it
everybody?
makes, but I think that is because they've done such a phenomenal job of building this world, building, the legislation to and for mutants, the world that surrounds mutants and non-mutants, and these great characters that they've brought in and continue to bring in, that we don't need that yet. Soon we will need that, but for now we're just, at least for me, I love the story, the actual
like
building
getting
of
the
the
characters
society.
and all that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they've established the characters, which is something that a lot of shows don't do. Like, we already have 2 love triangles, drama, we kind of have a basis for where Andy's character is going, we have a basis for where Lauren's character is going. We know Reed's situation with the Mutant Underground, we know how he's changed their mind of him already in 1 episode as opposed to dragging that out for 5 episodes. Like, a lot of stuff has happened with these characters that now we, at least 5 episodes in, already have history with them. Jace, we have somebody who's part of Sentinel Services that we already have an entire backstory and origin story to like who he is and why he's acting that way. We've already flipped that origin story on its head by eliminating his memory of his daughter dying. Like, so much has happened character-driven wise that we actually have a pretty solid foundation for giving a crap when things start getting really heavy. And
I mean, and you mentioned that in either the pilot episode of our show or the 2nd episode about Amy Acker's character. Her name escapes me really quick, the mom. But in terms of like, well, she's just gonna do this part. It's like one note. I want to see what her purpose is, and we've started to see that.
They've become kind of like the family has sort of kind of become like, I guess, the heart of the group, because now they're like repairing people. They're like, they're literally bleeding for the cause. So it's like now they've provided a value of this is your livelihood is also our responsibility. They're taking a large part in what their survival is. So I think that they're okay now.
Yeah, it's like you're contributing. You're not just like tagging along.
I think, right now we haven't really seen much of the technology aside from the spiders and the drone. And we have 1 breadcrumb with the doctor calling and saying he wants those kids. So right now we're seeing Sentinel Services Act. I think in the next few episodes, we're going to start seeing the privatized mutant hunters attack. And I think that's where things are going to start getting interesting is when you have 3 roles in play. You have the Mutant Underground, you have Sentinel Services, and then you have bounty hunters, or whatever you want to call them. And I think that's when it's going to get interesting because the bounty hunters are going to be chasing the mutants, Sentinel Services is going to be chasing the mutants, but what happens when the bounty hunters and Sentinel Services get in each other's way and things start happening? Like, I think that's when the story's really going to open up as to who's on what side and who's actually fighting for what kind of...
Can we get some help from the cartel to help out the
We
mutants?
have the cartel, yeah, you're right.
So that could it's a ball of confusion, but a good ball of confusion.
Yeah, we're opening up doors without closing them right away.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
And the whole scene, why Lorna wants to get at Jace that intensely right then is because she was saying, I almost got turned. Can you imagine what would happen? And so then we're opening up this door for Baton Rouge with the federal building that Reed recognizes. And that seems like the core of
Gambit?
where everyone's changing, where Pulse is changing, and all the rest.
I'm curious if those twins were got by the doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Because he brings up the news article and he is looking at oh, I want the siblings, but what if he had already gotten the other siblings? What if we're gonna see a casting for twins coming into this pretty soon?
What if those twins were the ones that caused the fireball?
I volunteer that Sean and Aaron Ashmore are the twins that they bring into the show.
Iceman and Jimmy Olsen. Okay.
So we get that Clarice is really pissed off at Dreamer because we're moving back to the story. We get Clarice is really pissed off at Dreamer. Stay out of my head. Stay away from me.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want them extracted.
Well, she doesn't want her to touch her. She
Yeah.
just
She
doesn't
didn't,
want to
because you don't want to take that chance. And I mean, this is in other media, but even talking to Wolverine on screen and in the comics, he said you can't just go in people's minds and just do whatever you want. It's like you have to be very careful. So I guess that's probably why she's like, don't mess with my head. Don't leave me alone. I don't want anything else from you anymore because I don't want something else to go missing or something else to pop up.
I do also think that there is a part of Clarice that likes how useful she's being.
Okay, yeah.
Because she has been extremely useful and way more consistent than she was.
Yeah, her powers have been.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is only pushing her further away. I feel like she has memories of somebody that she now loves that doesn't love her back. She has to be near this Dreamer girl. And if you haven't noticed, like, her interactions with people lately has been just skin deep. Like, she hasn't really been, like, she's helped them, but she's been, like, moving away from them every time she teleports them. Like, it kind of feels like she's already out the door based on this now interaction with Dreamer. Yeah. And I think I mean, we're still speculating at this point that Annie's going to the Dark Mutants or whatever. I still think Clarice might be going that way, too.
I mean, because there's a violation, number one, and then number two, she doesn't really specifically know like we do because we're watching the show of like what was put in, but she doesn't know. So it's like, is my friendship with you genuine? Is my friendship with you genuine? Is my friendship with you genuine?
Now she has to question everything.
So that's why you're just gonna kind of be like, oh hey, how's it going? You know, it's like, what'd you do today? Nothing.
Well, guess what, Rick? Nothing. Our friendship with the fans is genuine, and you know how they can show us that their friendship with us is genuine?
5 stars, baby. 5 stars.
What do the 5 stars say to the face? They said a review on iTunes. Go to iTunes, type in The Gifted, or type in AfterBuzz TV The Gifted, whatever. You'll find our show. Go ahead and rate us 5 stars. Leave us a comment on there. Also, be sure to hit that thumbs up in the video right now and leave a comment after this live broadcast is over so we can reply to you and get those comments up. Pop the views up, you know, because the more views we get, the more searchable we are.
Yep.
Get more fans in here. I mean, right now we got like 50 people in the live chat. So,
cool.
You know,
that's
that should
awesome.
be 50 thumbs up right now.
Well, you know what? I was thinking that we might have more people watching us right now, but some people probably forgot to turn their clocks back.
Yeah.
So they're thinking.
Well, it's a good thing that we're 6 days late anyway.
Right, exactly, right?
So, shout out to Big Brown Bubba Bear 2012.
Ooh.
Love this show. 5 stars. Really love you guys. You're so into the show as much as me. I love that you theorize and really think about this show. I wish I was there to converse with you about the show. Please keep up the good work. Goofy 5 stars. Reflex 123 says y'all are even more silly than the pilot after show. But yeah, I'm so happy y'all like the show the way I do and are having fun with it. It's a good place to be on a show. And ooh, that Dreamer wink. Well done, sir. Evil Mutants by Serpentina Lynn. I'm getting the feeling that Dreamer and Polaris might end up being villains. Polaris definitely has a dark streak in her that it's going to drive Eclipse, who I keep wanting to call Sunspot, away from her. I suspect the same thing happened with Dreamer and T-Bird. Also, is anyone getting a Stamford incident vibe about the July 15th incident?
Yeah, I guess you could, because they all kind of like blend together.
There's
like
always an incident.
Yeah,
of course.
they always
So I
have-
thought the fact that it was 7/15 was kind of like 9/11, but then it was also, I think, had to do with the recent type of protest that it always starts on one side and then things happen.
Yeah, everything's okay, and then there's 4
there's
or 5 people that are like
Ruin
crazy.
it for
and then,
everyone.
There's also the very like on the nose political commentary of like that was one group of people doing that. Don't just like
Categorize us as a whole.
Quick theory, 5 stars. This was today by the Lonely Wakandan. Hey, Gifted panel. What if the reason why the X-Men and Brotherhood went missing is because they all went to Genosha? And rumors that Genosha might show up in Dark Phoenix also gives a hint of where in the timeline this show takes place in. You guys are awesome. Keep up the great work. 5 stars.
I'm down with that. I like
that.
Because I was wondering if we would see something like Genosha here, and that would be a great way to kind of handle mutants off screen. I mean, like, oh, such and such is there, and they could just like mention them, but not really say their names.
Yeah.
So we know, oh, I didn't know Rogue was there, or I didn't know.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Genosha is a throwback to the animated series, right?
Yeah,
that's where I've heard Genosha a lot.
Yeah, Genosha was a throwback to the animated series, which was also in the comics, but it was kind of like this. It was Alcatraz pretty much for mutants, and there was this island. They had them there with the shock collars, or not
We have 10
It
minutes
was a
left.
Shangri-La? Okay.
So, if you guys want to know, just search Wikipedia X-Men Genosha.
that'll take care of
G-E-N-O-S-H-A. Cool. So we can touch on Jason, his wife and daughter again really quick. We talked about it earlier. Just a lot of way crazy theories that can pop out of this, losing the thing. Very emotional scene. How many of you guys saw it coming as soon as he walked up to the house? You were like, oh shit, he forgot about his daughter.
I thought he did forget about his daughter, but I kind of was confused when he was walking up. I'm like, maybe he didn't.
See, I was thinking that he wasn't going to recognize his wife. And then when you went, I was like, oh, okay, everything's fine. Then I was like, oh.
It didn't. Jim, you got me, man. Didn't even dawn on me. It did not dawn on me that he would think that she's still alive.
I literally was, as soon as like Dreamer had to walk away and she's freaking out, I'm like, oh, the last thing we see is his daughter. He's gonna forget he's gonna forget all that. And I'm like, is that gonna be a good thing or a bad thing? I'm like, oh, probably a bad thing. What I didn't think that it would make him forget the fact that she was dead.
Yeah.
I thought it would just make him forget the scene of her death, but forgetting like the fact that she's dead in the 4 years leading up, like he's lost a lot more than just his daughter in that.
Yeah.
Moving on, Reed runs into Wade Barrett from Roadhouse.
Oh boy.
Fade, right?
Yeah, Fade.
Yeah, his
Fade.
name's Fade.
Yeah.
Oh, it even rhymes. If you guys haven't seen Roadhouse,
Dalton.
It's a classic movie. And
Patrick
you can see
Swayze.
it.
I watched
Treat
it
yourself.
last night, which is why I'm directly referencing it right now. But the guy, he looks like Sam Elliott, let's be honest. Like, he kind of looks,
Yep.
the actor who plays Fade kind of looks like Sam
Wow,
Elliott. And
you
it's
know
the same
what?
kind of character as Sam Elliott in Roadhouse. But he
Wow.
sees that Reed is back, and he's not having it. He's like, this bastard, you know what he did to us?
Yeah.
Which is valid. It would
Yeah.
be weird if he forgot or if that guy wasn't there.
Yeah.
So again, throwbacks coming back and good writing, like full
Yeah.
circle. The only thing is I don't know where the girl or the woman was that he had
Well,
with them.
weren't they transporting them down to Mexico? Or
Yeah, but all of the mutants got attacked. Like, it wouldn't make sense that he would be there and they wouldn't, because that was like around the same time period.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe who knows? I guess
right.
we don't really know.
Yeah.
For
But
sure.
I
for
liked
sure.
them, so I was kind of looking forward to
I mean, and it always leaves the door open to the possibility that we'll see them.
True.
Yeah, so he's not happy, and obviously when you have one person who really hates the guy that is doing this, let's use that one person as the getaway car for the guy when we use him as bait.
Exactly.
So Reed
Yeah.
cues them in on the whole spanning the grid thing with they're using code words with break-ins and kind of codes like that.
Yeah.
And they decide, okay, well, we have to have somebody pop up outside of this grid, so they think we went the other way. So Reed volunteers as tribute, goes all Katniss Everdeen, runs outside there in a hospital scrubs with a bleeding leg because he's still got those pins sticking out. You thought Polaris might be able to just put them back in,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
nope.
she's not a doctor. That's not her mutant power.
Nice. I don't know if you've seen that. So yeah, he's running around. He sees the cameras. It's Big Brother state, basically.
Yeah.
And then he runs away because the
But I
cops
like
are
how
shooting at
they
him.
handled it.
Yeah.
At the end. He was like, just wanted to make sure.
Well, I don't know what
Side.
side you were on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn.
That was nice though, but you know, now it's kind of the mutants know that they are in all the way. You know, they're healing the guy with the bullet wound. You know, the guy's giving his own blood. They're using powers to keep the wound, you know, fresh or not fresh.
No,
but,
sealed.
you know,
They keep the
sealed up.
artery
Yeah.
sealed.
Keep it sealed. No fresh wounds.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have Reed, you know, sacrificing himself, saying, hey, I'll go out there and they'll, you know, follow me.
Yeah, so I feel like in this episode we've gotten all of our loose ends tied as far as the trust issues go.
Yeah.
So the family's all in, Reed's all in, everybody is on the same page as they are not going to betray us.
They're back together.
Yeah, we have the mutant underground overflowing with mutants from all over the place because gotta catch 'em all,
Yeah.
chase the
Yeah,
agent.
you gotta catch them all.
Yeah, so he's going all Pokeballs everywhere. And so last but not least, now that Reed's back, everything's fine with Reed. They have a nice little rib witch dinner, frozen rib witch dinner. And we get to the last story of the episode. This is not like timeline-wise, but Kate and Harry. Harry took a bullet. He used to be a mutant like you until he took a bullet to the knee. But no, it's in his gut. The kids are all helping. We find out that Andy is O-negative. He's a universal donor.
Same.
So Andy becomes a blood bag.
Yeah.
You know, because they just watched Fury Road. They're like, oh, cool, blood
I
bag.
can do that.
I'm out. That's Jim about that one.
I'm just like, dude, this dude has a gunshot wound. His artery is now bleeding profusely. He's been bleeding a lot. and Andy is like 90 pounds wet. Like, how is this kid?
Yeah.
Now,
holding his arm, like they would have had to have Andy sitting down. There's no way that kid would have been.
I was thinking
he would need a couple big Newtons
yeah,
too.
Some
Like,
juice, some cookies, like
Cookies and
exactly
juice.
right, so he doesn't pass out.
Now, big shout out to Jay Snowden in the chat. He said, seriously, why did the entire Mutant Underground leave the gunshot surgery to the mom and the Wonder Twins? I thought they didn't trust the family. They didn't, and they don't, sort of. But I mean, they have no choice, man. When you don't have a choice, you gotta take the best option. I mean,
just like, where
they can't go to patient first.
Where are all the mutants in the like, if they're overflowing with Underground, they could have been like, hey, who has a power that could help with this? Like, anyone can like cauterize the wound with fire.
Yeah.
Maybe that chick who took away the pain from Reed in the car could be useful.
True.
Yeah, he was in so much pain.
Anyone at all with like telekinesis who could just help out like with your mind.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah,
But
it's like
it
you
was-
have no pain.
Or like take him to
There
a
is
happy
no
place so
pain
he's
right
not
now.
thinking about the pain or something
Yeah.
like
like
that.
again, the only other thing that I was upset about was they didn't bring Thunderbird in to be like put his hand on the wound and like detect where the bullet is and see what the damage was.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
that would have been cool. Like, oh, she has to do surgery. Thunderbird, put your hand on the wound, and then we use Lauren to seal off some of these bleeding parts. And Thunderbird connects with their minds or something. And we combine 2 powers plus surgery. Like, I thought that would have been a lot cooler, but either way, the family had it handled. Even though it's just kind of random that they leave the shot guy to the family.
It was random, but I think important for all of them to develop clear roles and grow trust with everyone.
Yeah. And now they're like, hey, we trust the family.
Yeah.
So moving on, that's kind of the episode. We get left off with the powerful scene between Jason and his wife. We can do some predictions real quick, but I do want to first go to what Renji90998 in the chat said, if you guys could have any mutant power, what would it be?
Start with me.
Start with you.
Muscle mimic or muscle memory. I can't remember how it's been named, but whatever I see, I can do. And then I'd sit down and watch like tons of 90s action flicks, Bruce Lee, all that stuff. Touch of like tons of SWAT stuff, and I'd be like the coolest action hero ever.
You want to be Neo, basically. Neo uploaded is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I can do that.
See,
I know kung fu.
Yeah, man, I'm unoriginal because like for me it's just I guess telekinesis, just so I can like make people make me angry, and just make them trip, you know.
Throw them in the van.
Yeah, just do it, you know. But I think that's. I thought about that invisibility, but I want to fly. I'm not sure.
know.
But if I say invisibility, then it's like, so like maybe fly, you know, so I can bypass the airlines.
I
Get
know
revenge
there's
on those
so many
seagulls?
I'd want. I've been thinking about this actually, and flying and invisibility are great ones, but I think I would love if I could just read. There's this one Disney Channel movie where he read this huge novel in like 2 seconds and retained all the information. If anything I read, anything I could graze it in a second and retain it and be like a genius. With any subject, anything, that's what I would want.
Oh man, it's like I already thought that you
like
were
Monet.
a genius, but all right.
Monet, she's perfect. So like cool.
You guys seen Jessica Jones? How about like the Purple Man from Jessica Jones? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No.
Go in the closet.
No.
Yeah, scary
Sit
one.
in the closet.
In the
so
show.
scary.
No, I just meant I want to look like David Tennant. No, I think that I would want the power of rebirth. Like, whenever I die, I'd be able to retain all my memories and be reborn with all my memories. So, like, reincarnation kind of thing.
Okay.
So, like, I'd be just like everyone else, except I'd just retain all the
Like
information.
transferring to-
Yeah, it's just
okay.
transferring consciousness to another being and just continuously living lives.
Interesting.
It's basically gonna be Dracula.
I just want to be. I don't want to say the joke that I was going to say. So that's our show. Actually, you know what mutant power I need? Mutant power to make a sound effects for predictions come up. So if I can just.
Your AfterBuzz
There you
TV
go.
prediction.
You did it, man.
But to be fair, that power is just like having telekinesis, just like every other damn power.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, God damn it. What are your predictions, Mike? No, Rick, you go first.
Oh, my predictions?
Yes. You are Rick.
Let's see. Where are we? I don't know. I think that there could be a turn from Jace. He's going to be conflict. I mean, he's trying to like relearn everything, and he's going to go through his emotions again. But I don't think he's going to be as hardcore about trying to get. I think like I don't know. I see a turn in his character. like a major turn in his character where we could possibly see him be for the mutants on some end. Like there's some sort of understanding that he finds through this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because his daughter is now killed by an incident, not a mutant, in some way, shape, or form. So he's more of a gray slate than a black slate right now, in terms of like which side he falls on. Steph?
I think that next episode will be where Lauren and Andy will start working on their powers. Hopefully that's with Lorna, like we discussed, because I think she would be the best mentor for them. And then I also think a huge sort of investigation research among the underground mutant to know what is happening with the Baton Rouge Federal Building. I think they're going to try to find out what mutants are there, what are their powers, how can they use them against us, so they're more prepared for next time.
I think that through the process of investigating that, they're going to run into somebody else who is also investigating that.
Oh, another party coming in.
Another part. I think
So
it's
like
another
teaming up with another group.
I don't even think it has to be another group, but I think right now all of our mutants are too goody-goody. I think we need to be introduced to a more devil-may-cry mutant who's
Like
doing their own...
Gambit in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, like... Just saying, like somebody...
That would be good. I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah, somebody similar to Gambit in terms of neutrality as like chaotic neutral character.
Yeah.
Because right now everyone's just like, yeah, we're Team Brotherhood. We're still gonna we're just gonna protect ourselves. We're not gonna go actively attack humans or anything. And I think we need some semblance of like a mutant fighting back. Yeah. Whether it's a group or whether it's one mutant, I think we need that spark for some of our characters to ignite in terms of which side they fall on. But that's all the time we have today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the Season 1, Episode 5 review of The Gifted, Boxed In. We do this show again 6 days late because it's the only time we could do it. But again, we just are a refresher course before you watch the new episode tomorrow. Make sure you watch the new episode tomorrow. Also, follow the Gifted writers on Twitter. They started Twitter. They tweet out during the show. It's pretty cool. You can find me on Twitter to tweet about the show anytime at Stephen Lemieux, StphenLemieux, capital X. Everything's lowercase except that X. Remember that. Where can we find you guys?
I'm Steph Sabraw. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Steph Sabraw.
And I'm Rick Hong. You can find me on all social media at Rick Hong, RICKHONG.
You can find me online at One Youngster, which is ONEYOUNGSTA.
And we will see you guys next week, Pacific, 5 p.m. Sundays.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Oh, what a lovely day!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.